Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a little chatty Q&A. I wanted to do something to celebrate hitting 30,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. So I just wanted to say before I get into the Q&A, thank you so much for your support, whether you leave comments. I love reading everyone's comments. And to just joining in with the journal challenges and all the different crafty projects that we do here on my little corner of the internet. I'm actually preparing for the January challenge, so if you're interested in taking part in that, then definitely stay tuned. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support. So I asked on the community tab and also on my Instagram if you guys had any questions. So I will try to answer as many as I can in this video. And if I don't answer your question, leave a comment down below. Or if you think of something else, leave a comment down below and I'll try and answer as many as I can. But whilst I'm going to be answering these questions, what you're seeing on the screen at the moment, something to look at whilst I'm waffling away, is I'm actually starting my garden journal in my traveler's notebook. So because I'm going to have a garden of my own next year, I really wanted to collect and document all of the different things that I'm starting to plant, both just to have that kind of documented and have a look at the things I've been doing, but also so I can actually try and learn. I'm by no means a gardening expert, so I thought that having this journal would actually be really useful for writing down the things that I've planted, sort of when I've planted them, and also just keeping reference here of all these different tags so that I can look at the care for different plants and say when things need planting, all those different things. So it's kind of dual purpose really. It's kind of functional, but then also I'm just doing a little bit of fun journaling at the same time. So I might share more of this on this channel. I don't know how many of you are avid gardeners, but maybe it's just fun to share different like styles and formats of journaling as well, so not just junk journaling but also this style as well. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. But anyway, enough gardening chat, let's get into the questions. So the first question I have is, how are the renovations going on the new house and progress on your craft room? So I don't actually think I've mentioned this in a video, but I have made a couple of community tab posts and I've also been posting lots on my Instagram stories. I've got a little house highlight, but this year I got my first house and I've been in the process of all the decorating, the wallpaper stripping, etc. And the really exciting part is that I am going to have my very own like craft space. I've never had like a dedicated room for it before, so I'm super excited. I'm actually in the kind of final stages of it at the moment, so it has been super busy, loads going on, which is why there hasn't been a video recently, but hopefully I will be able to show you guys a tour of it all set up very soon. I've been trying to do like a bit of a studio vlog, like I've been recording clips as I've been going of all the progress, and actually vlog. I don't know how people do it, because vlogging whilst also doing all of the work, I either forget that to film things or it just kind of, I don't know how people have the energy, honestly. So I do have a few different clips that I'll probably edit together if you guys would like to see a kind of like a bit of a mini studio renovation kind of, I don't know if I'd call it a vlog, but just some snippets, some studio snippets maybe, but I will definitely do a video kind of setting up my craft room and also a bit of a tour once it's a little bit more finished. But I'll pop on the screen as I'm talking about this now some little previews. But like I said, I've also posted on my Instagram just because it's easier to kind of snap a pic on there and share to my stories. So if you're interested in seeing some of the progress already, then you can check that out over on there. But yeah, I'm super excited and I can't wait to show you the finished result. It's been a long time coming and I'm just so excited about it. So the next question I have is actually quite a big question, really. It's what inspires you the most? So gosh, inspiration is it's one of those things, isn't it, where sometimes I'm in the mindset of I have to take time away from creating in order to find inspiration. So, you know, things like nature or just finding things in almost when you're not looking for them, you know, like in such unexpected places. So often I'll take pictures on my phone if I'm literally like out and about and you see maybe some tiling on the wall with a nice pattern, or you see a certain colour scheme of a dress maybe when you're out shopping, things like that. So I do like to collect inspiration that way, just sort of organically. But then also sometimes inspiration doesn't come until I'm actually like doing something. So I almost have to kind of, even if I'm feeling a bit uninspired, I find that I have to pick up my journal or some other crafty project and just start adding things in, start making marks, and it probably won't be good, but that's not the point. The point is to just kind of get the ball rolling, and whether I just completely cover up what I've done or it leads to a new idea, sometimes it's just getting that ball rolling and just getting the momentum. So if you are finding yourself just kind of endlessly scrolling Instagram or Pinterest searching for ideas, maybe try just showing up to your journal and seeing what you find when you open the page and start to create. Okay, so the next question was, I'm about to go to a craft show and I'm wondering what your go-to supplies are. What should I be looking to buy? So I thought this was a really interesting question because if you've watched any of my videos, been here for any length of time, you know that I'm never one for saying you have to have certain things in order to journal. So, you know, I'm never showing you guys like loads of different products and supplies. Like, it's truly just like use whatever you have and whatever you enjoy as well. But in terms of the things that would catch my eye at a craft fair, definitely things like washi tapes or stickers. I tend to steer away from like journals or notebooks, just because I prefer to make my own oftentimes, especially with different papers and things like that. So it's always like washi tapes. I don't think I've ever not bought a washi tape when I've gone to something like that. But also I think it depends what type of craft show this is, because are there vintage papers and secondhand books and old postcards that I can look through? Because you will definitely find me at that table. Even if there's like scrap fabrics and lace and ribbons, they're always really fun things to include in my journals as well. So again, I guess it depends what kind of craft show it is. You know, is it independent like stationery brands with you know the washies and the stickers and the stencils and things like that, or is it more raw supplies, so you know the upcycled papers and things like that, the postcards, the secondhand books. You know, I love my gardening books where I find like floral images and things like that. So yeah, definitely keep a lookout as well, just for things that even if you might not think initially that it might be like a journaling supply, sometimes I've found things where you can actually use it in different ways. So for example, I know it's quite a popular one, but you know, napkins even, they're always really fun to use as like a bit of a decoupage element. So there's loads of different things that I think you can keep an eye out for, and it's not necessarily having a list of things that you should buy, but just see what takes your fancy, and definitely have an open mind with how you could be creative with certain things. Okay, let's answer some questions a little bit quicker because I feel like I'm rambling a lot with these questions. So, how do you organise your supplies? Oh, that's actually a big question. Maybe I shouldn't say that that's a quick answer question. What I actually think I might do is create a separate video on this. So once I'm all set up in my new studio space, I can give you guys a tour maybe of how I organise my supplies. It's a mixture of using sort of baskets and like pencil cases, pencil pouches, and also just a bit of organized chaos thrown in, which I'm sure some of you guys can relate to. Everything, like, I know where it is, it just might not be in a place that necessarily makes sense, but my brain knows where it is, so that's the main thing. So yeah, I think I might do a whole separate supplies organization video, because I actually do, as well as moving my stuff over to the new space. That's probably an opportunity for me to actually kind of do a bit of a stock take and think about like what I actually have. So maybe we could do a little bit of a sorting through of all my stash and working out, maybe do some stash busting or just what I want to do with it, because sometimes it's easy to hold on to things and think, oh, I'm going to use that one day, and then 5 years later you've still got that random napkin that, let's be honest, you're not going to use. And sometimes it's good to either just pass it on to somebody else who will give it a loving home, or to actually recycle it. I know we always try to upcycle everything we can, but let's face it, if I'm not using it, then it might as well go somewhere else. So I definitely think I want to do a bit more of an organizational kind of video if you guys would be interested in that. So another question is, I'd love to know about how you got into junk journaling and perhaps see an early journal. So I will leave a link down below to a video, because I've got one that's kind of a bit of a tour of my junk journal collection. So that kind of shows all the different ones, and I think it's really interesting to see how I've kind of developed my style, even just in junk journaling, because I've done other journals for much longer than I have with junk journaling, and so I was trying like loads of different things, and I think that's the fun thing about when you first start a new technique or anything like that, is just trying all the different things, see what you like and what sticks. So that's kind of, you'll see that's how it's evolved in my earlier journals. And I think it was just kind of a bit of a natural evolution, really, because I was always using upcycle bits and pieces here and there in my journals, and it kind of transitioned from sticking those pieces into like a Moleskine journal, or whatever the flavor of the month was at the time notebook I was using, over to actually maybe I could actually construct the journal from these pages, rather than just gluing things onto the page. And then once I sort of started making them, I guess I just couldn't stop. And so it's kind of my favorite way of creating these days. It's not necessarily the only thing I do. I mean, as you'll see on the screen right here, I'm doing something completely different from that. But again, it's kind of inspired by that, because although I am documenting these cards that have come with the different plants, I guess in a way it's kind of like, that would be to some people considered junk. They would throw that away. They wouldn't need to keep that. They've bought the plant, they've planted it, and then that just goes in the recycling bin. So I'm kind of keeping them both for reference, and then also I'm just making some pretty journal pages with it at the same time. So that's kind of how I've evolved with my journaling and my junk journaling. So the next question I have is, it's actually two questions. What kind of journal cover material do you like the best? And do you have a specific journal for traveling, a travel journal? So for the first one about journal covers, I always used to really like a hardcover journal. So I used to use a lot of like Moleskine, Leuchtturm back in the day, and have it be like an actual like book, like a proper book. And then when I started doing junk journals as well, I did the whole, repurposing an old book, like just gutting all the pages, using the hardcover. But I think I really like a soft cover these days, and not necessarily soft as in like it's flexible, but just not super rigid. So I tend to use scrapbook papers a lot, especially for like an accordion journal where you wouldn't necessarily have like a hardcover book format, because you've just got your two covers and then I don't know, what would you call it, like an exposed binding almost. I mean, there's no binding, but I tend to find that scrapbook papers work the best because yeah, they're lightweight enough, and then also I just have so many of them that I need to use up. So sometimes I'll even just cut them out for covers, and it's, you know, you buy a 12 by 12 pad and you never like all of the papers that are in there. It's just a given. You're never going to like them. There's always going to be one that's ugly, and so I like to repurpose that, cut it to the size that I need, and then stick what I actually want the cover to be over the top. So normally it'll be something a little bit thinner, just to keep it more of a lightweight cover, and that's just my preference for when I'm making journals. And then for the other part of the question about a specific journal for travel journaling, so in the past I have done like individual journals for a trip. So I think I've used like a Moleskine before. Have I only used Moleskine? I think I've only used Moleskine actually. But like the most recent trip that I did, where I went to the Netherlands, I actually just did the journaling in my Hobonichi, because that's more like daily life documenting kind of vibes, and so that journaling kind of fit more in there, because my junk journals and my art journals are more for like creative play and just doing sort of artsy things. Like it's not you know, today I went to the shops, etc, etc. Like I just don't do that sort of journaling in those journals. And often people ask me like, where's the writing, where's all the bits and bobs? They're just in another journal. So I tend to keep those sorts of things in there and put the ephemera in those bits, so it's kind of separate. But yeah, it depends whether it's a long trip or whether it's something that's only a couple of days. So that is all I have time for. I'm quickly running out of time on this video, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.